Season's nearly upon us. How much have you enjoyed that off-season, going into that on the back of a Premier 15s win?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a great summer. It was a lot. Well, it was a long old season, to be fair, from our pre-season that started beginning of July and obviously finished 24th of June. But it's been a really good block for us. Load of downtime for the girls, bit of a reset. But actually, just now we've been back in pre-season a good few weeks, and actually just chomping at the bit for the 23rd of September and actually play some rugby again.
Yeah, you mentioned how long the season was. How important is it that, after a long season like that, achieving what you set out to achieve, it is important to have a break, isn't it, and reflect on what you've done?
Yeah, hugely. I think it's like mentally and physically. I think it's the grind of striving for a goal like week in, week out, and like the mental attritional game that it is at the moment. Also physically, obviously, it's I think it's huge that we get a bit of a break. And obviously, we had the 5 weeks where we're just kind of away from the club altogether, and then the medics and S&Cs and everyone and the coaches put together a really good graded pre-season back for us. It wasn't just kind of week one off we go, put your boots and your gum shields on. It was it was built in to be quite a nice steady pre-season, and like I said, now we'll get into the business end of it, and hopefully towards the season that we can get going.
And obviously, when you've reached a goal as big as that, it's quite easy to sort of sit back and look at that. But how good have the coaches and the senior players like yourself been on sort of refocusing the group and getting them ready to go again? Yeah,
definitely. It's probably one of the first things we talked about was that it's like what we've achieved last year is brilliant, but it's it's a clean slate. It's the nature of league rugby is that for this season we start again, and we've got another job that we want to do, and we've got our goals and our plans this year, and it's about learning from last year and taking what we kind of that foundation, but again just building on it and getting better and better, because there were parts of last year and parts of performances that weren't perfect, which naturally is going to be the case, but it's the challenge that we set ourselves is how good can we be, and what can we do to continue to improve, because that's only what's going to be happening at other clubs, is that they're going to be new signings, new coaches, clubs are getting better and better, and the investment in women's rugby is naturally improving the standard of the league. So we can't just go, we're league champions last year, so it'll be a straight walk in the park, because it wasn't the case last year, and actually again this year it's going to be even more of a challenge.
And I guess once you've tasted that success, it makes you even more hungry to go and get that again.
Yeah, 100%. It's just last year was just magic. It was a very, very special season for all of us, and to obviously, like I say, go away and be able to call ourselves champions. But again, like you say, it just makes you even more hungry to do it again, because that taste of success, that feeling, that, like I say, very, very special year, you just want to keep tasting that.
And a slightly different league structure or season structure. Same as last year, with the cup being played in majority before the season starts. How much are you looking forward to that one?
Yeah, no, I massively am, and I said it last year at this sort of block where we had that pre-season, and obviously a lot of the international girls, which is a large chunk of our girls, are away with internationals. Actually, we have a real opportunity at that point, and I think exactly the same again this year, that it's where we grow our depth as a club. It's where we have the opportunity for some of our under 18 graduates, from our Bucks graduates, some of the girls that are very much our pathway. It's an opportunity for them to get embedded in the programme, embedded in the shapes and the sort of style of rugby that we want to play, and then give them game opportunity in that cup. And so I think Steph Els, for example, was a great product of that from last year. I think she had a fantastic pre-season block with us, really impressed, and then actually the cup, she just kind of found her feet, and then she very much featured throughout the season last year, and she's a great example. She's only a baby, and I think it's a brilliant way of showing how the programme can work, and like I said, developing that depth. So hopefully not, but should you have to use that kind of depth within the season due to injury, etc., then you've got players that are very much ready and prepared, and that's how I see cup. It's an opportunity for a lot of that depth to really get developed.
Yeah, you mentioned the pathway, and it's obviously something that the club are really proud about developing. So from a senior player point of view, how much do you feel like responsible to take that role on and help out these younger girls? Yeah,
massively, because I'm not going to be playing rugby forever, and I cherish this club with all my heart, and I want to see them do well for a really long time. And I think that's the organic nature of what we've got here, with a thriving 18s programme, a really successful Super Rugby programme with girls. I think that's the way that we go. The salary caps, etc. That's probably a whole other interview in terms of what you could do. But actually, I think we've got a real longevity to our club because of the nature of our pathway. And like I say, we're really incredibly proud of it. But equally, those girls, you don't get to see them develop if you don't get pushed. And like I say, I think this pre-season and then into the cup block, it's massive for those girls to be able to put their hands up in a really competitive, and probably for some of them the highest level they've played so far. And I'm really excited for them. And like I say, a few of us senior girls, we do try and put our arms around them if we need to. But also, again, it is a step up for them. It's not 18s rugby, it's not Bucks rugby. It's a Premiership champions club, and we want to make sure that they kind of strive for the same standards that we kind of hold ourselves to.
And especially in terms of a back's perspective, Linny did an interview recently. There's obviously been a few new signings, mainly up front, but Linny's really looking forward to seeing how some of those girls step up in the backs. They feel like they haven't need to recruit from elsewhere because there are some real talents coming through.
100%. We've got some brilliant backs coming through, and like I say, we're obviously at Cheltenham tonight, and we're going to get to put that into practice with some of our new girls because, like I say, there's across the squad, forwards and backs, we've got a lot of young talent, and like I say, I think it is a testament to our backs unit that we've got, that we haven't necessarily gone out and recruited loads of more, because actually, we've retained the girls that we've got, but also we have got some really exciting prospects coming through that, again, in some of those key positions that can really kind of improve and also develop, and like I say, I'm excited to see them go, to be honest.
Yeah, and just going back to touch on, you mentioned that it is about development, but also it is about sort of testing them in these environments, and how much is it as well about every time that someone pulls on a Gloucester-Hartpury jersey that they're giving a good performance.
Yeah, and like I said, that's one big thing that I'm really keen on, is making sure that, because I remember when I was 17, 18, pulling on my first Premier shirt and being terrified, but also, just wanting to try and soak up as much new information. And I think, like I say, a lot of these girls, they turn up and all of them have had a brilliant attitude this pre-season, where they've been keen to learn, they've been doing extras, they've been turning up early, there's a real hunger amongst them, and I think that's all you can ask is, the effort and intensity and the desire to learn. They're not always, and the same for all of us, we're not always going to get it right, but like I say, that keenness and the willingness to learn, I think, is a massive nod to this group at the moment, because like I say, they're very, very much got that in buckets, to be honest. So I think it's, like I say, I'm dead excited for the Loughborough game, because I think that we're going to get to see a lot of those girls put it into practice and see what they've got, like I say, within a competition environment, because obviously training can replicate so much, and obviously hopefully tonight we're going to add another layer to that with a bit of a competitive training session. But I think, like I say, you don't often see exactly what people have got until you put them in that competition environment. So hopefully when they pull that shirt on, it's going to be a really special moment for them, but also, again, another step up in their learning and development.